Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the beautiful Circuit of Americas out here in the beautiful state of Texas. My name is Stephen Koenig and welcome to Evolution Racing Academy, where you're about to see some of the best racers from across the world duke it out side by side in some incredible action of some incredible times. But that being said, let's quickly run through the championship before we head down to the circuit, which from looking out the window here is going to be a absolutely sopping wet race for drivers to deal with. It's going to be an exciting one. It's going to be a wild one. And considering they just came off doing a 4-hour endurance just yesterday, expect to see some impressive action nonetheless. But that being said, we got the likes of our top three being in Diamond, Christoph Peterson, David Schutz, and Ben Hicks will be fighting out for the honors. In Platinum, it's Nicholas Cora with Lucas Kolob and David Borschke. And a little bit further down, we've got David Roth, Miles Stone, and Marco Virgo for first, second, and third of our Gold Division. Now, this circuit, 20 corners to deal with. It's all about keeping the flow. It's all about keeping it easy and ensuring that you can get across the line without any issues. And drivers have been putting down the work to ensure that they can keep on going, especially on some of the toughest sections of the track. Is going to be tried and testing for many of these drivers. See what they can do. How hard can they push with the temperatures being 26 degrees, but it is going to be raining throughout. It's all going to be about how you set your wet weather tire and how you've set your wet setup around COTA. Many drivers starting to enjoy it, others not liking it so much. Practice times was usually about the 2:15s mark, about low 2:15s for our top runners, to our mid-grid sitting in the 2:16s to be active and fighting in the championship. You also see that we've got 3 different championships running in one race. Our Diamond, Platinum, and Gold will be all together. One mandatory pit stop to go racing here in Server 1, plus all the incredible action that is going to be going through for our drivers is going to be a bit of a wild one. We do have something rather special for those that missed out the endurance and hasn't seen what we've got planned out this evening. Well, you're about to get a whole bunch of it, and our drivers will be giving a bit of a show as we have gone and snuck in with Tim the cameraman with 2 of the drivers that are racing here this evening to go and give us some on-board, not only from them in the car, but from the sim rigs. You heard me right. We're going to be watching from the sim rigs and getting an understanding of what these drivers are doing. It's something new, it's something exciting, it's something that's gonna be really interesting, and we'd love to hear from you guys. So, with that being said, let's start making our way down to the track and get an understanding of the race. As the cars make their way out onto the circuit, a bit of a cold tires is at hand here. Everyone having to try and figure out their setups. What are they going to do? How long can they run on the set? Now, with rain means that you don't have to go and wear your tires down too much. You can concentrate on your battles. 26 drivers are going to be duking it out here tonight. But as we said, we've got a little bit of a special one of our onboards from the views of our drivers. Let's go through and find our first one, our first target to them all. That is going to be the likes of Tomo Malami. Let's see if we can try and track him down in pit lane. He's starting to exit out. There he is for the Cyber Racing team. And let's bring him up on view. So Tomo's view out with his Mazda will be showing up momentarily. And we look for it. There he is. There's Tomo making his way out onto the circuit for the Cyber Racing team. Always fantastic to have him out there looking to battle out. A quick wave as a hello to everyone out on the circuit. Fantastic to see. And our next of the targets is one that has, well, been a bit of a talker. He's now a driver. He's out there having some fun. And that is going to be Chris Wall, who is around, you can see on that 49-inch screen, live streaming his point of view as well. So do tune in for his live stream. But there is our 2 targets for this evening. And as you can see, the Logistical Nightmare Mustang looking a bit black here today. New color livery put on the car to ensure that he has some good racing. Absolutely fantastic to see, and wonderful for the inclusion of our new driver cams coming in, and hopefully many more to come through. So let's take a look. David Borschke out there in first place for the Track Tool team, with Ben Hicks of ERA, Highway Patrol, Modern Spritzer down in third place, along with David Schutten as they start their lap. It's always fantastic to see drivers going and pushing on that little bit more. Team standings, though, we got to talk about that. And so far, it's ERA, Highway Patrol that is leading out the pack, with the likes of Cyber Racing, Multec running in second place. Pedal Files are running, and you heard me right, pedal, like your accelerator pedal, is running in third place. Stunt Possum Racing in fourth. Los Pantos Hermanos Worldwide is in fifth. Los Pantos Hermanos is in sixth. Cyber Racing Oroshka in 7th. Track Tool team is lying in 8th. Logistical Nightmare Racing is lying in 9th. Wise Racing Motorsports in 10th. Griffin Sim Racing, Rogue, Burif Racing RBR, and Dragon Alliance rounds out the pack. Our manufacturer standings, though, it is Ferrari out in first place. For many of our Ferrari fans out there, Jason Farmer in the car, along with the Mercedes in second place. Nissan lying in third, BMW in fourth, Lamborghini in fifth. Sixth is Ford, along with McLaren, Porsche, Aston Martin, Honda, Lexus, and Bentley rounding out the pack here for our championship standing. So lots and lots of interesting times. Good to see how many people are ready to have some fun and ready to move forward. But we're looking forward to some interesting times to come in, as many of the drivers are going to be really dialing up to 11 to ensure that they stay in for the fight, that they can move forward, and if they've got enough in the tank to ensure they can battle it out. David Borschke, though, trying to find any bit of grip out on the circuit, and it's absolutely torrential out there. Everyone just seeing where they can go. Curbs is going to be the worst case to touch at this very point. You don't want to get anywhere near it, otherwise death will come for us all in a very, very quick way. So it's going to be an interesting time, but we are looking forward to seeing how the racing goes and who will be able to stand tall come the end of the race. David Schutten down in fourth, Jason Farmer in fifth. Milestone back out there in sixth place with the Stunt Possum Racing Stang, and really showing off what the Mustang will be able to do. He is leading out the gold division at the moment, but we're still waiting for those times to go and get back in, and Camille's son, unfortunately, first off the track. It is David Schutten leading out the pack with a 2-minute 14.8. Well, Ernest Lundbriggs goes and drills him out there and gets into first place with a 2:14.775 in the Ferrari 488. He was actually going and racing a Nissan GTR last night, going and having some fun in a 4-hour part of our ERA endurance season, and it's fantastic to see the drivers going and taking a different initiative to be a part of the show. So, as we take a look, Ben Hicks down into third place. We'll continue on, but it is Stephen Milano James in fourth, and Martin Spritzer leads out the running pack for our Platinums with a 2:16.3, and David Borschke down in second place of our Platinums, trying to make up a little bit of climb. Paul the Wall Fenter did not race the past evening, but has been rather happy with his times and really ensuring that he can be a little bit further up the pack. He's been quite confident being back in the Aston Martin and has a bit of a will to fight it out. Jason Farmer lies in 9th position as he comes across the line, putting in a 2:16.715. Lewis Knight a little bit further down into 10th. Chris Wall as he battles his way through with the likes of David Young in for that top 10. So the drivers still trying to figure out what needs to be done. Chris Wall going and really showing off how he can make it work, but you will also get a bit of an understanding of how difficult he's actually working behind the scenes at the moment. So we will pull up the in-driver cam. If Tim can do it. There we go. This is shots from him in the sim rig, making some fine adjustments to the car as he makes his way around the circuit. Bit of a show out there, and is streaming as well. You'll notice dual monitor setup he's got on his side to ensure he can keep an eye on all the racing action, going through all the different menus, timetable coming up, just seeing if he can pick up the pace, ensure he can be in for the fight. It's going to be a tough one out there for him as he battles his way through, and we'll see how it's going to work out in the very near future for him. So Chris Wall down in 12th place. Ben Hicks up into first with a 2:14.1. Best lap time of the qualifying session. Ernest Lundbriggs not able to improve his time. He's actually invalidated it. David Schutter is next to make his way through along with Stephen Milano James. And a move up for David Borschke. Jason Farmer pulls off the circuit and will be waiting to stop, reset, and get back going. Stephen Milano James currently in 4th place. Jen Nelson is out there in 5th place for the Cyber Monkeys team and battling his way through. Martin Spritzer down in 6th. Sebastian Lucas along with David Borschke. John Spriggs going in 9th, 10th place. David Roth, Paul Fenter into 11th position at current. Chris Wall up on the climb, 0.1 up through the run and trying to pick up his pace. He's up into 14th position at the moment. Rob van Heerden out there for the Griffin Sim Racing team, going and looking to put his foot down and really get some time underneath him as he fights his way through. Also another South African coming in to have a bit of fun, Richard van Heerden, who has moved up. Well, he's moved down. He's in 18th for the likes of the Project Vapor, the RVH Racing, and part of the Project Vapor team. Richard van Heerden looking to make his debut and ensure he's into that top 15. So good to see him out there having a bit of fun. Jason Farmer trying to improve as well. Unable to do so, but take a look towards the sharp end of the field. Sebastian Luxon putting himself into the top 5 as a platinum driver for the ERA Highway Patrol, looking to score some major points here and hoping that it works out in favor. Stephen Milano James a little bit further down is in 5th place with Toma Malami down in 6th. Jen Nelson will hold out that run in 7th. Ben Hicks leads out the pack and has got a good gap between himself and 2nd place by 0.6 of a second. Jen Nelson increases and does well. Put across his time. Sebastian Luxon going down the order. Stephen Milano James currently 0.4 up on his personal best. Christoph Peterson only able to make it out in 17th position at the moment. A couple of drivers still to get a time on the board. Camille Hassan, Aaron Schigel, and Mahath Musa are yet to put a time on the board here to stay in for the fight, and otherwise they will be starting at the back of the field. Sebastian Luxon, though, after a great run of racing, unfortunately having the car retired in last night's endurance, he's looking to try and change it all here tonight. David Roth puts himself into 4th place. Stephen Milano James, Jen Nelson up into 6th. Paul Fenter down into 7th as they come through in train. Sebastian Luxon trying to battle it out. Tolma Malami got himself up into 9th position and will be hanging on for dear life at this moment. Oh, spinning the car, unfortunately. And a bit of frustration will be kicking in as he makes his way through. So, bit of a show there for Tomo. You can see the concentration and going back in on what he needs to do to stay in for the fight. A little bit of a scratch of the head and just taking the time. The pit limiter driving everyone absolutely mental at this point for how long this pit lane is. And you can see how Tomo just wants to get back out and get going. It really does show a bit of the character of the drivers on the way through and looking around, see where he can get going. And absolutely love the new addition coming in. Let us know what you feel. How do you like it? There's new cameras giving you a bit of sense of what the drivers are doing and where they're making up a bit of time. David Schutter, though, up into 3rd, currently 0.4 up on his personal best. John Spriggs currently 0.2 up on his personal best. He makes his way around the hairpin, down the back straight, absolutely giving it horns. He was originally in a BMW in last night's endurance. He's hoping that the Honda is going to cope just as well here at COTA, and the Honda NSX GT3 going and really putting on a bit of performance. Actually not the first time that the NSX name has been used by Honda, or Acura for you out there in America, but the NSX name has been around since the 1990s, 1980s. It's been around as one of the sports cars for the likes of Honda and really has put on a great show. Actually, the NSX was used as the official pace car for Formula 1 in times go past in the old GPs back in the 1990s. So really some interesting stuff out there. Always fantastic. Chris Wall, though, out there in the Mustang. He is also 0.4 up on his personal best. One that is really up on his personal best is Jason Farmer and Miles Stone. Currently 0.9 of a second up. He was about a second. He's trying to pick up that pace and stay in for the fight. Mahath Musa comes across the line, puts himself into 4th place, and will be happy on that one. Camille Nelson down into 6th, trying to make up some move. Jens Nelson out there in the Lamborghini, hoping to really shake it all up at the moment. But Ben Hicks, still undeterred, has got a huge gap to his teammate of David Schutten. The precinct are going to be rather happy about that. Ernest Umbrix, though, with a bit of rusties on the car, a bit of a ka-chow coming through. He's hoping that it's all going to work out to get himself up towards the top. Otherwise, he's going to have to listen to Kachiga the whole way going through, going and tearing a bit of a headache out there. David Roth, though, big talk about him coming in and putting himself up into 4th place as a gold driver. That is some serious pace, and is looking forward to showing what he can do. Honestly, I'd take my hats off to him. Camille Sun, a little bit further down, will be in 5th place, trying to pick up his pace and stay in for the fight with the likes of Stephen Milano James. And we have got Antonio Gamble going and saying, how's it? Welcome. Good to have you here. And good to see that you've returned, recovered, and after the festive weekend of having tons and tons of chocolate. Well, 1 hour and 42 minutes to go, and we are going to see how it's going to battle out. I've got to say, this is going to be a bit of a wild run for many of the drivers. And hopefully there will be some proper gains. But Ben Hicks currently on an absolute rocket ship of a mission and really battling it out. We've got Ram going and saying, how's it? Going and battling out. Now, Gamble, if I remember correctly, you're going to say, go Griffin Sim Racing, but most importantly, go Jason Farmer. Now, I know Jason Farmer, I have actually spoken to him about utilizing his camera, and he was like unsure and worried about it and not quite see where it's going to work out for him. Well, rest assured, we haven't been able to get a camera in him yet. But we have gone for a couple of our drivers out there, as we do see Tom Malami trying to keep it all together and fight his way through, not having an easy time to really keep it all together. And we'll see how frantic it is behind the steering wheel behind his sim rig. That is Tomo Malami of the Cyber Racing in the Lexus. You see fine precision control needed to just keep this Lexus at bay on the way through. 20 seconds to go, though. Has he got enough to do one more lap? He's currently a little bit down on his lap. Oh, gets a bit of a tank slapper as well. You can see that rapid correction on the steering wheel to just try and get it all sorted out, and just trying to balance himself out and back onto the power yet again as he comes across the line. He may have just done it to get another lap in the race, and going to be focusing all the way through. So good to see him out there going and putting in some good times. Ben Hicks currently won't improve his time, but Mahath Musa is doing an incredible pace and looking to really get that little bit more underneath him. Currently in 4th place, up 0.2 on his personal best, so maybe enough to put him into 3rd. As David Schutten and Ernest Lundberg's come across the line, they have got 2nd and 3rd, so is Ben Hicks in 1st. Not able to improve his time. So Jens Nelson will also be looking to improve his time. David Roth across the line, Camille Hassan, Stephen Milano, Jason Farmer, Christoph Peterson, David Borschke also trying to pick up the pace and get some little bit of momentum. Another one out on track, Mon Spritzer for the Track Tool team. They've gone and improved their time. Milestone as well, down in 19th position, looking to get a bit more momentum underneath him. Chris Wall, keeping consistent, keeping it calm, hoping to make it work for him, and is lying in 21st position. He's hoping just to do enough at the moment to carry this little bit of pace, and no one yet to beat Ben Hicks. David Schutten, Ernest Umbrix, Mahath Musa won't have enough, and you can see the tank slapper coming in, adjustments being done just to try and dial in the car a little bit. Unfortunately, it looks like he is not going to be up on his time. Gently through and giving us a beautiful angle of what exactly he can see from the cockpit of the Mustang, really leaning into the corners, hoping that he's going to have just enough through to put in a time. Tomo and the likes of Chris Wall hoping that they have enough. But Chris, tank slapper on the way through. Milestone won't be improving either at the moment. This is going to be Chris Wall coming up to the line. Is it going to be enough for him to get the position? Don't think so. He's unfortunately 0.4 up on his time. Gone. Dusted. Game over. Tom Malami, though, going and getting back to pits, getting himself centered, and will be hydrating in this point. So good to see the drivers out there. But now we're going to look to some of the incredible racing as we get ready for some great action here at COTA. Very, very wet circuit. As you can see, puddles everywhere, and the drivers having to really figure out what's going to be the best option for them. How are they going to pick up the pace? Where do they need to pick up the pace? Where do they need to find that little bit of grip? It's an hour's worth of racing, one single mandatory pit stop. But if you have missed out ERA and you've never seen it before, you get to see something rather special because we have success ballast, a success penalty. So instead of adding weight into the cars, making things a ton heavier, we actually go and put a time penalty. How do you serve that? During a pit stop, you will have a 15, 10, or 5 second. That is to bring you closer to the field. So if you're out in first of your class, you get 15. If you're in second place, you get 10, and third place, you get 5. That being said, there's also other penalties that get dumped on as well, and that is going to be for drivers who have got the ire of our stewards and having to really get themselves sorted out after some very close action. Not going to be of too comfort, I would think, but we'll hope to improve in tonight's race for round 2 of ERA Sunday Championship here at COTA out in Texas. And everything's bigger in Texas. Well, the championship can't be any bigger than what it is right now. It's going to be an incredible, incredible time. And everyone's going to have to really figure out what's going to work for them at this point. How are they going to battle their way through? Where are they going to be able to move forward in everything and to ensure that they keep up the running order? So ladies and gentlemen, get ready to rock and roll as we will start to get ready out on the circuit, and success penalties will be added to our drivers here on the beautiful, beautiful circuit of COTA. The excitement starts to build as we head out to the track. Some beautiful shots of the circuit and everyone getting ready to rock and roll for the start of the race. And there is some great action, or showing a bit of an over head-to-head of our camera of both Chris Wall on the top and Tomo Malami on the bottom. It gives you a sense of the prep being ready done here at the circuit. As the rain befalls and the music draws to a close, we will be ready for some action. And it's going to be a wild one. A bit of a furry friend coming in to also cheer on. Tomo getting a bit of a friend to come through and say cheers, thank you, good luck. Ben Hicks will lead out the pack with Chris Wall in second place. We're starting to see those times creeping in now. Ben Hicks will have a 5-second penalty. He needs to serve. David Schutten has got 10 seconds he will have to serve in the pit stop. Ernest Umbriggs running in third place with Mahath Musa, Jens Olsen, David Roth in fifth place as they will get ready to rock and roll. Bit of a show of our drivers. And David Roth leading out our gold division and actually beating out the platinums. He will have a 5-second penalty. He's starting out in sixth place. A little bit further down, though, we do have the first of our platinums, and that is David Walshke. He's got 10 seconds to deal with at the moment. Christoph Peterson not getting the ideal run for his race. He's got a 15-second penalty, and he is in the top 10, but only just at this point. And he'll have to try and figure out what the next plan is. Paul Fenter a little bit closer to him, and that's exactly what he wanted. Sebastian Luxon, John Spriggs, second of our goals in 14th, will be looking to try and move his way up through the order, but is going to be Milestone after his dominating effort in the Mustang at Barcelona. He's hoping to carry that same momentum here tonight at ERA for round 2 of the championship. And man, oh man, we are in for an absolute treat. So folks, hope you're ready, hope you're excited, and you are just as lively up for me on this one, because it is just about the little niches that need to be done. Everyone trying to work out their final bits of tire pressures, getting ready to drop the cars to the ground and get going here at the beautiful circuit of COTA. But I do not envy the teams and drivers out there in the torrential rain. And hopefully for everyone, you have brought your umbrellas, because you're going to need it on the way through. And taking a look at the racing. Looking off the rear wing of Ben Hicks, you can just see the epic shot of all the GT3s lined up as the track glistens with water. The 488 of Ernest Lindbergh, something that has been a major contender in through the championship and has been most dominating. He changed away from the 488 going into the last season, season 13. This time he's decided to go back into the car that has duly made success for him. Behind him, he's got the Lamborghini of Jens Nelson, and he is lined right up against Mahath Musa, who is in the BMW M4. Quick fire up on the engine to get himself ready to go. 9 seconds as everyone poised to get going. It is the ERA Highway Patrol locking out the front, with the likes of Ernest Lindbergh's Mahath Musa going and in the second row, ensuring that they can get going. So as we get ready to take off, get going, and have some excitement, we're going to be in for some great racing, folks. Welcome to the ERA Sunday Championship, and it is going to be Ben Hicks leading out the field with the likes of David Schutten in second place. Third is Ernest Lindbergh along with Mahath Musa. Jens Nelson in fifth. Sixth place, David Roth along with Camilo's son Stephen Milano James in 8th position. Jason Farmer in 9th. Christoph Peterson in 10th along with David Broschke. Paul Fenter, Sebastian Luxon, John Spriggs in 14th place. Tomo Malami in 15th. Rich Fanieda in 16th position. Martin Spritzer will lock out in 17th. 18th, Aaron Schigel along with Miles Stone. Lewis Knight, Chris Wall, Marco Vigo, Elric Diaga, David Young, Hanzo Foss, and Rob van der Heever rounds out our pack of 26 cars looking to fight it out in the top run. And it is going to be all eyes on the ERA Highway Patrol locking out that first row to make it work for them, as they've got two very, very quick drivers as Ernest Lindbergh and Mahath Musa. Both have shown their fight in the rain. For the likes of Christoph Peterson, a multiple-time champion who is way down the order, going and changing away from the Ferrari, well, changing away from the Honda, his usual car, into the Ferrari 488, and is hoping that that's going to be enough to take on the running fight. So definitely an interesting choice for him to deal with, and it's going to be a tough one out there for him to try and compete in these rainy conditions, something he hasn't quite done with the car in a very, very long time. So hoping that's going to be able to work out. So definitely one to keep an eye out for out there. Tom Malami, a little bit further down, will be trying to get himself set up. He's in 14th position and will be looking to just try and build up as much heat as he can. Mid-grid, had a chat to him. He's not a big fan of being mid-grid, especially in the fights, but he is running 4th of his class. He's got the likes of Sebastian Luxon just ahead of him, has been in a difficult time and hasn't got the best of luck here on the beautiful circuit of COTA. He's got Paul Fenter just ahead of him. The Banana Express returns. Well, the name returns, but not in the Banana Express. That is actually for the Bentley he used to race. As I swear, the Banana Bentley, painted it yellow, had a huge amount of fun with the car, and really been his fan favorite. Well, this time around, it's going to be all about the action towards the sharp end of the field as they make their way through this incredibly long circuit here at COTA. Will challenge the drivers to figure out what is the next plan, what more do they need to do, and how far are they willing to push. 1 hour worth of racing, 1 mandatory pit stop, no changing tires necessary. All you have to do is put 1 liter of fuel in the car, and that means a pit stop is done and dusted. As long as you lined up in that box, you put 1 liter in the fuel tank, you will have your pit stop done and dusted. Otherwise, you're going to go through this incredibly long pit lane and have a bit of a tough time. So, rounding the corner they go. Final corner, getting themselves steady, ready to go. 17 kilometers an hour. They will have their alert. Side-by-side formation, the spray kicking up over the windscreens, and it will be a race down to T1 for the drivers as they're ready to go. Lined up, and green flags. Now it's green flags for Ben Hicks to get the jump on David Schutten, but it's Ernest Umbriggs who gets the better start, and he has got Mahath Musa trying to go around the outside, and not going to quite work. Jen Nelson, though, a little bit of contact from the back. Oh, Mahath Musa gets caught out. Jen Nelson gets turned, and it is a bit of carnage at the back. It does look like it may have also included the likes of Miles Stone. He's into the wall. Mahath Musa has turned around trying to get himself going. Jet Nelson was part of that contact. Rob van der Heever gets going. It is also David Young at the moment. But did I fail to see? I saw an Aston Martin get turned around. Might have been Paul the Wolf Enter who got a little bit out of shape there. But Ben Hicks leads out the back. David Schutten, Ernest Umbriggs, David Roth trying to get the run as he had a little bit of side-by-side contact. He's got Camille Sun on the back of him. Stephen Milano James running in 6th position. Will look for the inside line. The Cyber Racing team will try to sink it in deep. Oh, couldn't quite do it and just couldn't get the power down enough to get ahead of Camille Sun. He's going to have to wait it out. Paul Fenter is running in a little bit of no man's land. He's quite happy with that one. Jason Farmer in 8th. David Borschke down in 9th position, and Christoph Peterson a little bit further down. So a bit of carnage on the early stages of this race. And let's quickly try and get a helicopter view of what happened on the car. So this is Jen Nelson's purple Lamborghini that's got the number 5 on it. He is on the inside line. Where did it all go wrong for him? Late on the brakes, trying to get himself sorted. Oh, rearward contact from Camille Sun. That turned Mahath Musa, brought him back into the field. Jason Farmer gets a nose full of it as well. Mahath Musa down the order as Jen Nelson going and out breaks himself. Rob van der Heever loses out to John Spriggs as they continue on the drive. And Rob van der Heever trying everything he can to just get the car sorted out. Around the outside, Marco Van Gogh trying to improve his pace and will be continuously hunting down. It is the teammates that are up in the front, though, giving each other a bit of a chase. They're not going to push too hard out there and will be just ensuring they can keep Ernest Umbriggs out in 3rd place at this current stage of the game. Jason Farmer into the pit lane to get himself sorted out and will be doing his first pit stop, and I think also doing a bit of repair work to the car as well, as we do see Martin Spritzer, the track tool team, onto the back of Tomo Malami, who is going to be hunting around, trying to figure out where he can go. Martin Spritzer, late on the brakes, tries to swing it through. Tomo now starting to feel the pressure at this current point. Will need to figure out how this is going to work out for him on the way through. Tomo Malami will be battling out there. Martin Spritzer on his tail, and we can just see Tomo trying to keep it all consistent at the moment. Calm, cool, and relaxed in the car as he puts in minute feeds to just keep it all in check. But he has got the track tool team on the inside, trying to figure out where he can go. Looks for the undercuts in through the corners, but the Lamborghini just not closing up as fast as possible. A bit of a tank slapper coming in. Jason Farmer now completing his first pit stop and will be powering his way through to the very end. And it does look like Martin Spritzer tried gearing up to get the pass done and dusted. Quick turn round, a quick fishtail. You could see the steering wheel going frantic. And now it is going to be all eyes for the likes of Martin Spritzer to drag race at the moment with the Lamborghini. Unfortunately, just not having the legs on the Lexus. The Lexus, widely known with their naturally aspirated V8 small block, is able to put down a serious amount of power to challenge, and the Lamborghini, the V10, screaming its guts out, trying to close up the gap. Christoph Peterson onto the back of David Borschke just ahead And now he's also got Sebastian Luxon putting in some pressure behind him, trying to figure out where he can go. Marco Vergo, a little bit wide out, so he's got Lewis Knight all over the back of him. The Good Smile Racing hopes to make it all work for him as they carry on through. Christoph Peterson looks for the outside line, though, as they battle on. And we do have another round of pit stops. Jason Farmer, Rob van der Heever, Jens Nelson, and Aaron Schigel, who goes into the pits. They're trying to get themselves sorted out after the little bit of carnage that happened into T1, and will be focusing on the charge. This is all about momentum base now. You don't want to try and push it too hard and land up with a problem. It's Christoph Peterson constantly puts the pressure back onto the car ahead of him, and that is the likes of David Roschke. You can see how that rooster tail coming into effect, making life a little bit more difficult. He goes for the inside line, couldn't quite get it hooked in, doesn't quite have the brakes. The same as the Nissan GTI he raced last night. But we go to Paul Fenter. This is onboard footage with him. He's on to the back of Stephen Milano James, hoping to get some sort of drive underneath him, seeing if it's going to work out through the battles. Side, left, right, the Aston Martin a little bit understeery. Paul Fenter still trying to shake off those marshmallow eggs that he's had all weekend, and the little girl that has been finding them scattered all over the house, the garden, and everything there can be, including the birdcage. So Paul Fenter just trying to get rid of his own form of BOP at this point. Mahath Musa a little bit further down in the field. He had a bit of a rough start. Now he's got to try and battle his way through. Hanzo Foss in the Bentley Team M Sport will be up ahead of him, and the Bentley, a much older chassis, an older car compared to the BMW, but is being brought to life with the BOP that is currently used to keep all the action at bay, which is fantastic to see drivers able to bring the Lexus, they're able to bring the Bentleys and stay within the fight. Mahath Musa tries to keep in the toe, but the Bentley definitely having a lot more pace down it, and it was called a Boatley for a very good reason. Well, continues that place. Ulrich Diaga, the Griffin Sim Racing team, livery didn't quite pull through, unfortunately, and we'll try and get that resolved for the Griffin Sim Racing team as we see Hanzo Foss opens up the door a little bit, and Mahath Musa takes a bit of a look, and Lewis Knight going for an absolute drift round, and that is how you smile when you need to drift it and spin it and everything else that goes with it. Mahath Musa in 17th position, trying to make up some time as he's got Hanzo Foss on the inside. He's going to go around the outside. Has he got the grip though? This is where the question comes in. He's off the dryish line, and likes of Hanzo Foss going to say thank you very much and keep on the drive. Paul Fenter and Stephen Milano James fighting it out. Now Paul Fenter did say he's quite happy in the rain, and he's going to battle it out now. Stephen Milano James for the Cyber Racing team will be looking to improve his time, and this has been quite a run for Paul Fenter as he brakes a little bit later and has brought in the likes of David Roschke into the fight as well. Christoph Peterson is keeping close company. Sebastian Luxon, Tomo Malami, Martin Spritzer has got Richard van Heerden all over the back of him, and Richard van Heerden making his debut here this evening will be trying to make a big impression. Oh, side contact for Marco Van Gogh against John Spriggs at the moment, and it's going to be David Young who will try and pick up the pieces after these two carry on rubbing doors with one another as the drivers continue on their pace. Christoph Peterson down in 9th position, something he's not too familiar with, being stuck behind the lights of the Lamborghini ahead of him. David Roschke, who battles his way through, is currently running second of the Platinum division, with David Roth leading out the golds, lying in top 4. And we have got Ben Hicks, David Schutz, and Ernest Umbrix leading out our diamonds in the running order. So they have really tuned the cars in. But David Roschke at this point has got no reason to fight with Christoph Peterson, but it does give him a bit of spacing to deal with Sebastian Luxon, who is all over the back of Christoph Peterson. Now Sebastian wants to get past. He's running 3rd in class. Christoph Peterson is not in his class fight and wants to stay in for the fight nonetheless. And it's always great to see drivers trying to push that a little bit harder. Nielsen, who had that little bit of contact early stages of the race, has got David Roth ahead of him, and David not backing down from the fight will continue to carry his bit of momentum through as drivers carry on. Now, we did talk about this in the endurance race, but something we can bring up in the sprint race as well, track limits being an issue. Many of the drivers are going and feeling it into the later stage of the race by putting a wheel out just wrong, get a track limit exceeded, and it does throw you out the race. So many of these drivers will be very, very flirtatious with and trying to figure out how on earth can they keep it together in these very tough times. Camille's son out in 5th, battling out with David Roth, who's leading out the gold division. The second of the gold divisions, Ulrich de Jager, down in 15th. So there's quite a bit of gap between them as they make their way around. Christoph Peterson not able to continue to carry the momentum. Has got Sebastian Luxen all up ahead of him. And Talmo is going to make up a little bit of time. Ben Hicks is getting a bit of an issue as David Schutzen all over the back of him. The two teammates now starting to get a bit scrappy with one another. And who says the training academy can't allow you to have that little bit of a tough time? Camille's son finally gets past David Roth. And David Roth now is going to follow suit in the Ferrari. He doesn't want to push too hard. The cause Banquet will be really having a good time out there with the team. And the 488 colors showing proudly with the American flag in the beautiful state of Texas here at the Circuit of Americas. Christoph Peterson, another close fight for him is with Sebastian Luxen just ahead. These two are still slugging out, but everyone else starting to get into their rhythm, starting to figure out the drive, starting to figure out the groove, and really keep going as Talmo going and losing out a bit of momentum. Has Martin Spritzer get on by, and now Martin Spritzer up into 4th place. Talmo ran out a bit wide. It's compromised his drive. Martin will look to say quick thank you for that. And now Richard van Heerden. Now these two have never crossed swords with one another until now. This is going to be an interesting one. Richard van Heerden, a very aggressive defensive driver, and has come from many years of motorsport. Has got Talmo, who's not afraid to go elbow to elbow with any sim racer out there, and it will push you to your limit. Now it's going to be the stuck between a rock and a hard place at this point, and Martin Spritzer's got the right idea. Check out of the fight and stay right away from them on the way through. So definitely some hard work there. Chris Wall starting to look in his mirrors and see the likes of Maeth Musa making up some time as they try and pick up a bit of pace. Chris Wall hoping to just keep it all together, opens a very little door on the way through as he tries to carry so much momentum into the final corner. He does see Maeth Musa is sitting in his wings at the moment. Tire pressure's all looking good. He's quite happy and consistent, but here comes Maeth Musa up on the left hand side, and Chris going and changing the gears a little bit later on. He's going to try and provide just enough room for Maeth Musa to get the pass done and dusted. You see the arrow kicking up on screen just to allow for a radar, and it does show you a little bit of what the drivers have available to them to go and understand what's happening through the grid. So Maeth Musa now needs to run and get going as Rich van Heerden has got Talmo Milani just ahead of him, trying to catch up and make their way through. So far though, some good times being had. 12 minutes into the race, and still we've got a considerable amount of drivers on top of one another. So let's quickly go through who is running where and which class. So starting off with our diamonds is Ben Hicks, David Schutten, and Ernest Limbricks leading out the pack. For our platinums though, leading out our platinums for the first time is actually Paul Fenter. He is keeping ahead of David Boschke in the Track Tools Lamborghini, and Sebastian Luxen tailing him in the Aston Martin AMR V8. We got first in our golds, David Roth leading out the pack with Ulrich de Jager in second place, and Marco van Gogh going and running in third place in class. Jason Farmer, Jens Elson, Rob van Heerden, and Aaron Schigel currently lead out those that have done their pit stops. Everyone else still needs to do it, and those success penalties will creep in to change the entire face of what goes on. So keep an eye on it, folks. It's going to be a bit of a wild one between drivers, but between two teammates, David Schutten keeping the pressure firmly onto the back of his onto his teammate Ben Hicks, DRA Highway Patrol, not making it easier time out there. And you can see that rooster tail getting kicked up, all the water that is going through the grooves in the tires, all the treads going and displacing the water to just try and keep as much contact surface with this tarmac. But it does make life a lot rather miserable when you're behind, as you can't see much. You really have to try and figure out where your brake markers are. Ooh, bit of a tank slapper for David Schutten on the way through. So definitely not his easiest time out there. Rich van Heerden now lining up side by side with Talmo as they battle their way through. They do have a car going a bit slow. There's one of his cyber racing Ferraris. And it is going to be late on the brakes. Is it going to work out though? Tomo goes out wide. Oh, Rich Van Heerder giving a little bit of elbow to elbow there. And will be saying, okay, thank you. Carry on. Now it's up for the likes of Tomo to try and improve and really keep up that bit of pace on the way through. Definitely going to be having a bit of a difficult time out there to ensure he catches back up to Richard Van Heerder. But Rich did give him enough room at the start. Later just ran out of room to give, and understeer creeps in, but you can see the focus on the driver as he immediately tries to close up that gap and would like to be in for the fight on the way through. And this is Tomo going and pushing the Lexus, a car that isn't very selected here in the world of ACC anymore, but it is a beautiful car to nonetheless have as he really gets the power down, trying to figure out where it's all going to go. And is it going to be enough though to keep the drive on the way through? Ultimately, you can see that Ferrari 296 just having the legs on him, and he will have to wait a little bit longer. Pit stops is going to be absolutely crucial to go and keep the drivers at bay. But it is going to be a little bit further down I want to talk about, and that's Hanso Foss, who is fighting it out with John Spriggs. Side by side they go. The Honda NSX looking to get ahead of the Bentley, and they've got Marco Vergo, who is right into the pack as well, as Hanso stuck on the outside. Late braking for John Spriggs as he battles his way through, runs out a little bit wide, and here comes the likes of Hanso Foss and Marco Vergo. 2 positions, 1 corner. David Young looking to make it 3 positions. Unfortunately, just couldn't quite get the power down early enough to make it work in his favor. And we'll have to figure out what the next part of the plan is. David Young knowing that he needs to push himself that little bit more, see how it's going to work out, and where do they get this climb. This is ultimately the top running order for them. Christoph Peterson into the pit lane, trying to get himself sorted. Mahith Musa turned around, waiting for the field to come by, and before he could get going, Marco Vergo up on the inside, trying to get the pass done and dusted with the Bentley as he catches up. It's going to be a put the nose in. Can he keep it going? Only just the side by side between the two. The Bentley catching some huge air, and all contact between himself, and that is John Spriggs. Hanso Foss getting some airtime, lands up catching John Spriggs, losing out, and a bit of maneuvering there coming in for Lewis Knight, splitting it right down the middle, having a deep breath on the way through. But Hanso in the 71, not having a good time in that little fight. So let's quickly try and take a look from how it looked in the car for Hanso Foss. Getting forced out a little bit wide. You could see her straighten up his steering wheel, and over the curbs, man, saw some light, and unfortunately just nowhere to go. Turned him around, bang into the wall, and that did not help him out. Lewis Knight went and gapped it down the middle, and he's going to be quite happy that he's able to keep going. But it is going to be Hanso Foss, John Spriggs, who are the last of those that need to pit, with everyone else diving into the pits. Interesting enough, Christoph Peterson pitting very, very early this stage of the game, trying to battle his way through. Sebastian Luxton has got David Rolski all over the back of him, and now Sebastian trying everything to see where he can get past this Lamborghini, and the Aston Martin breathing flames out the side of it, really, as he goes down shifting, ensuring that he can try and slow the car down, use a bit of engine braking at this point. You don't want to lock the diff, and you don't want to stand too much on the power. Everyone's going and turning the traction controls just high enough to stay in the race, but not too high that they land up with a bit of a problem, as they will have to try and figure out what's the next part of the plan here, how they're going to battle their way through, where do they need to get the climb, and where on earth are they going to be able to stay in for the fight. So many of these drivers will be looking to move their way forward, and hopefully trying to keep it all in check at this point throughout the racing order. I mean, this is going to be a tough time out here. You can see how Sebastian keeping right onto the back of David Broschke, now switches out to the outside, just not able to do it in the braking marker, and we'll have to wait yet again for the epic action to continue at this point. But it is going to be Tomo all over the back of Richard Van Heerder, but Chris Wall starting to make up a bit of time. He's 7 seconds back, but is looking to try and keep it all in check at this current moment and catch up to Tomo. Lewis Knight getting himself out there. Marco Van Go into the pits. going his pit stop done and dusted. Sebastian Lucasen still keeping on to the back of David Borski. So still drivers improving, still trying to get that little bit of time underneath them and ensure that they can fight it out all the way through. David Roth, though, going a little bit late on the brakes. We did see a quick kick up of a yellow flag, and that might have been a bit of slow going on his part. Just try and battle his way through. In the background, though, we do see David Borski and Sebastian Lucasen all over the back of one another, and it is the Lamborghini just keeping Sebastian's Aston Martin at bay as they continue on this drive. Sebastian going to be thinking, what does he need to do to try and get it all booked in? Looks around the outside, getting very skatey, getting very unsettled, crosses over, and David Borski still going and keeping up the run. Will try his luck. Richard van Heerden seeing in his mirrors as Talmo all over the back of him, trying to get a little bit of time. And we have got Aaron Schigel, who is in between them. He's with the Cyber Racing Ferrari, who got lapped, but is still keeping it consistent out there. 26 cars out on the circuit, and still a lot of time to be made up by all in this current race. Sebastian trying to keep all over the back of David Borski. Still really trying to go a little bit later on the brakes. Not able to get it. Constantly hunting down, but he does know that Dave's got a 10-second penalty they'll have to serve during the pit stop. And that is going to change the whole face of the game. Ulrich de Jager, keep hold to the back of Matthias Musa after the pass done and dusted. David Schutten down into, he's in second place, trying to battle out with Ben Hicks. So far, position and gain losses. Let's look at who's made up the most amount of positions during the course of the race. And that will have to be a bit of a split one, as Chris Wall, who is out on circuit, currently gained 8 positions. He's got Matthias Musa chasing him down. But Chris Wall going to be quite happy on his stellar efforts at this point. Up 8 positions from where he started in the Mustang. And after having a bit of a miserable time in the Mercedes last season, this season seems to be a little bit better. Matthias Musa down 10 positions from where he started. And we have got Ulrich de Jager, who is currently up 8 positions along with David Young. Bit of a sideways action starting to come into play. That Fanatec working overtime. And now Matthias Musa up on the inside. And there he goes. Goodbye. Thank you very much. You can keep your Fanatec podium and your Formula wheel at bay. All we need is a bit of BMW power to carry on the momentum through. So great to see it out there. Down 1 position. Ulrich de Jager in 15th is up 8 positions, and so is David Young. Biggest losses, though, has to be Jen Nelson, who started out in 5th place. He's down 18 positions, down into 23rd at current. So he's trying everything he can to bring it back into the fights and ensure he could stay in for the go. Paul Fenter, 1.8 seconds back from David Roth. That Ferrari 488 starting to have a bit of wear and tear on it. Martin Spritzer, though, has got Rich van Heerden and Talmo keeping the pressure on him, and he's going to have to figure out where this is all going to work out for him. Talmo trying to keep it consistent, but it's Rich van Heerden who will put the pressure back onto Martin Spritzer and try and gain a little bit of time. They're fighting out in that platinum class and really trying to improve for honors as Paul Fenter leads out the pack. Martin Spritzer lies 4th of our platinums, and Richard van Heerden running in 5th place wants to try and make an impact here at ERA from some amazing action. Some drivers from right across the world, whether you're from South Africa all the way out to the US. It's something I actually got pointed out. We actually have here in ERA enough drivers from across the world. Every continent is represented, whether you're in Africa, South America, Europe. Everyone has got someone out on the circuit that goes and battles out. So good to see him out there. David Borski trying to help out his teammate now, the Track Tool team, looking to improve their standings in the championship as they currently lie all the way down in 8th place at current. So they really need to work together, try and pick up the pace, get a little bit closer to the ERA Highway Patrol, who currently leads out the pack. Cyber Racing running in 2nd place. The pedal files, got to really talk about that one. There's a pedal, like your throttle pedal, that is going and keeping a close run as Talmo sees Richard van Heerden losing a bit of time in the wet, and that Ferrari looking a little bit worn out. Now needs to try and figure out what is going to be the best running for him as Talmo poised for attack at the moment, goes for the inside line, couldn't quite get it to work, late on the brakes, and it really steps the car out wide. Rich Fanietta going to be really continuing on the drive, but it is going to be the likes of David Brodsky trying to get the pass on. That is John Spriggs, who was a little bit further down the order after his contact, and he's just trying to keep it all together and just giving him enough room, and not enough for his for the track tool teammate on Martin Spritzer to get on by. John Spriggs saying, listen, I've got to turn at some point here, guys. You can't have all the road. You got to give me a little bit of room here as well as we continue on this race. Hanso Foss, though, oh, bit of loss of control and unfortunately clipping the wall. Hanso Foss in the 71 just goes sliding off into the distance. So let's take a look at Hanso Foss in the Bentley, trying to keep it all up and going over the curb, looking all fine. Low traction control, though, as he tries to battle it through. Runs out a bit wide, catches a curb, and just a death slide into the wall. Monster impact. And unfortunately, going and taking a bit of an impact there. So, Hanso Foss will have to try and bring his way through. And it looks like they may have retired the car as well. So, that is not ideal running. Martin Spritzer and Tomo Maloney into pit lane. Both going and running the same strategies here. And it looks like Mahaith Musa dives into pit lane as well. So we've had one retirement out of the race, and that is our big Bentley that is out of the running order. Paul Fenter all over the back of David Roth at the moment, who is really pushing to try and hold that top 5. Paul Fenter leading out the Platinums is challenging that who leads out the Golds. And that is going to be a bit of a wild one. David Roth leading out the Gold has got 5-second penalty he needs to serve, but he has got plenty of room to the likes of Young in second place of the Gold. And Paul Fenter going and venturing out into the world of distance there. And honestly, going from Texas to New York to California, trying to figure out where on earth around this track, in the state, out of the state, across the borders, across the waters, where on earth can he get past that 488 that seems to have legs on him down the straightaway. The Ferrari with its V8 really shows off what it can do against the Aston Martin AMR V8. Maybe you needed to bring the V12, the true Aston Martin, back into the fray instead of using the likes of the Mercedes spares that we do have. So good to see some great action out on circuit so far. Closest, other than our teammates that are running Ben Hicks and David Schutzen at the moment. Christoph Peterson will look to try and gain a little bit of time on Tomo Malami. Both have done their pit stop, with Christoph doing a little bit more time he needed to serve due to a penalty. So he's down in 18th position, and Tomo sitting in 17th at current. So a couple of drivers needing to improve. Jason Farmer keeping it consistent out there. Will look to try and carry on his bit of momentum on the way through. Doesn't want to be caught out too much at this point. He wants to focus on the gentle drive, not go and get caught out in any messes, any problems, and any loss of positions after his very, very early pit stop in the race. And this was like in the second lap. David Brodsky now into pit lane, trying to get himself sorted out. He's got Richard Van Heerden bailing into the pits as well. So Richard going and taking the same approach, trying to get rid of the undercut. And now what will Chris Wall do? He runs out a bit wide and will not be going into pit lane. He's going to go past the pits, seeing the drivers and saying thank you very much on this one to move his way up. He's got the likes of David Young that's currently putting in some very good times to improve and hopefully try and get himself into the top running order. So good to see drivers trying to figure out what do they need to do to stay in for the fight here around the beautiful circuit. And it is going to be a tough one. David Rochke dropping down. Lewis Knight gains a position on his way through with a good smile racing. We did see him also doing a couple of donuts on his way through. Miles Stone a little bit further down. It's got 15 seconds. He's yet to pit at the moment. So depending on where Jason Farmer pops out, if he can get ahead of Richard Van Heerden and the likes of Brodsky, he may be able to get it going. So Rich Van Heerden's going, and Brodsky's still having to wait in the pits, serving his pit stop time. And it is going to be Richard Van Heerden just enough. Is it going to be close? Then Rochke getting himself going. Jason Farmer has managed to pass both of them and is now leading out those that have done their pit stops and will continue on the momentum. Martin Spritzer taking in the spots as well. So he's going to be running second of those running the pit stop. Richard Van Heerden right onto his tail. will have to try and get a bit of heat into those tires and brakes after being stopped for 31.7 seconds. So that is tried to get a bit of fuel, a bit of tires, and now he needs to generate a bit of heat in the process as well. Miles Stone leads out, well, it finishes up the pack that has not pitted on the way through. Ben Hicks into the pits, David Schutten into the pits as well. The teammates giving a bit of a call there, and Ernest Lumbriggs seeing both of the highway patrols in the pit lane. He's going to take this opportunity to go and rack up those speeding tickets to try and break away early on. Camille Sun will be second of those to try and break away early on. Paul Fenter not going to be losing a bit of time. David Roth into the pits, doing his first pit stop. You remember, he's got 5 seconds, and we'll be keeping an eye on David Young, who's making his way through. David Young is the make or break for him here to ensure that they keep going. Chris Wall hoping that he has just enough in the tank to get ahead of David Roth. He's also diving into pit lane. So Chris Wall into pit lane, gets himself sorted, and will be waiting it out. So a couple of drivers going and swapping their way through as we go past the half-hour mark. Tomo battling his way back up through the fight. He has got Christoph Peterson just ahead of him and will be focusing on a hard charge for that Ferrari 488. Christoph looking to hold the crown yet again for 6 championships in a row. This time I think it's going to be a little bit different, swapped out from his usual, and we'll be seeing how it all works out. Keep an eye on Ben Hicks though, out in 10th position at current. He put in the fastest lap time of the race of a 0:2:14.5. He is trying to make up some time and will be looking to launch his way up through the field. David Roth leaving the pit lane will rejoin out onto the circuit and be up and going. It looks like down into 3rd place in class, but the other two have not pitted. So the gold division is looking to get a bit more wild out there. Ben Hicks dealing with Miles Stone at the moment, trying to figure out where he can get the pass done and dusted. Unfortunately, not able to do it around the outside as they battle their way through. Ben Hicks hoping that he has just enough in the tank to try and get past Miles and clear some distance in between. He needs to try and catch up to Ernest Lumbriggs, who is currently way up the order at the moment, nearly a full 40 seconds up the road, as he is 4 seconds ahead of Camille Sun in 2nd place. Paul Fenter running in 3rd. Stephen Milana, James, Sebastian Luxon. And then we have got David Young now leading out our golds, while Paul Fenter leads out our platinums at current. Sebastian Luxon holding 2nd place of the platinums. Stephen Milana, James into the pits, who was holding 3rd of the diamonds. He's going to be keeping a close eye of where Ben Hicks comes and filters through. So Stephen Milana, James hoping that he has done enough to carry the momentum through. Ben Hicks getting a bit fouled up behind Miles Stone at the moment. Miles making sure that he's going to keep the power going. He's going to keep going with the Mustang and not going to give up track position just as yet. Remember, they are fighting for track position. This is all legal. It doesn't mean that he has to move out the way. It doesn't mean he has to play nice. So Miles at this point going for the long game and is going to be stretching the tank in. Oh, Ben gets a little bit hair-raising, nearly having some severe contact into the back of Miles Stone there as they keep on. Miles has got his eyes firmly set on Lewis Knight a little bit further up the road, but Ben Hicks having a bit of a moment of note. So let's quickly take a look as the spray kicks up, and he's behind Miles Stone in the Mustang. So this is our helmet cam to give us a bit of sight, sounds, and visual representation. Oh, just having the rear snapping out underneath him. He had to bring it back on the way through, but only just at that point. And that could have ended absolutely terribly for both drivers who need to really battle their way through. So tough times out there for every single one of our drivers, pushing out a little bit harder. Miles Stone, who won the previous round, will now have to go and make his way through. And Miles Stone with that 15-second penalty that it needs to be served as well. So Miles hoping that he can keep going. Miles actually didn't win round 1. I do apologize. He came 2nd place, but he did have some penalties added to him post-race that gave him the 15 seconds. He was actually meant to have 10. So he did get a 5-second penalty added onto his time that is being served here tonight. And Ben Hicks going to be trying to hunt him down at this point, trying to figure out where can he get by. How hard does he need to push to and stay in for the fight on the way through. So tough running orders. Oh, Ben Hicks and Miles Stone having a bit of a coming together and meeting of the minds. Not ideal situation. Paul Fenter into the pit lane. He's going to be keeping an eye on Martin Spritzer as Sebastian Luxon also into the pits, trying to get his pit stop done and dusted. David Young will be trying to ensure he keeps going. Maybe going to try and run out a little bit further as Miles has got 15 seconds, so you will clear him. But David Roth is going to be the big problem here as David Young is going to try and keep the momentum going. So Ernest Lumbriggs leads out the pack with Camille Sun in second place at this point, trying to pick up the paces of his race. And he will be able to carry on. David Young up into third place of the race, yet to do a pit stop. Young, Knight, Stone, Hansen, and Lumbriggs yet to do their final pit stops and get it out of the way before they land up with a problem. Paul Fenter trying to get an early jump has got Sebastian Luxon all over the back of him. Side by side, they're going to be darting into turn one. Paul hoping he's just got enough room here. It is going to be a bit of a Max Verstappen, Lando Norris bit of moment as Paul trying to hold the inside line as much as possible is going to force Sebastian to try and figure out where they can go. In through the hairpin, Sebastian looking for the undercut. We did just cut back to it, and now this is a fight for the podium of the Platinum class. David Roth falling in right behind them will be trying to fight it out as well. He doesn't need to. He's part of the gold, and he wants to hang on to the back of them, but ensuring these two Aston Martins know exactly how the fight is going to turn out as Sebastian Luxon and Paul Fenter hold 9th and 8th respectively. They have got David Schutten a little bit further up the road with Miles Stone just running in tow, and Miles trying everything he could to defend, but it is going to be David Schutten to get that pass done and dusted. And now Schutten up into 6th place. Will be happy on that one. Sebastian Luxon once again going on the attack, trying to get underneath the likes of Paul Fenter. They fight it out for position and really look to gain some time at the moment. Miles Stone really late on the brakes, trying to catch up to the likes of Schutten, who is going and battling it out. But Ben Hicks leads out those that have completed their pit stops, leads out our Diamond Division at current on the way through. David Roth hoping to try and stay within the fight of these two Platinum classes. So far running 2nd and 3rd of their classes respectively. Paul Fenter, Sebastian Luxon. But with Lewis Knight still needs to do a pit stop, and he's in 4th place a little bit further up the road. He's going to have to open a big gap and hope that these two go and keep each other well enough busy to try and hold that position. It's over 30 seconds as in the pits to get a little bit of fuel and to carry on the race. Sebastian Luxon really putting the pressure on right onto the back of Paul Fenter, trying to figure out where he can go at this point. Going to be a tough time out there as they battle on into the running order. Sebastian Luxon getting on the power. A little bit of a snap oversteer. He has to deal with it. But there is the spray getting kicked up from Paul Fenter's car as he tries to keep it all in check. The Eleanor Banana Express going and leaving no room for error as Sebastian Luxon once again late on the brakes, coming right up into turn one and taking a lot of curb there. You can see the car getting a little bit unsettled. Got to be very careful on that running order as they continue on their drive. Tomo getting the pass on the likes. Let's actually take a look. No, it looks like Tomo Malami may have been out of the race. So it looks like Tomo Malami out of the race. And we're waiting for confirmation on what exactly has gone on. But it looks like there was a disconnect from his part. And he is out of the race, trying to get himself back in. We're going to quickly try and bring up the camera, see of Tomo, who was just on such an epic run at this point. And there we go. The face of a bit of disappointment kicking in for Tomo. It was on such a stellar drive. Oh, man. Absolutely gutted. He's into pit lane, so he's going to try and get himself going. But is definitely feeling all that has gone on. And it shows as well. So we'll leave him be over there. And good to see him trying to rejoin and get back into the race. But you could see that absolute heartache coming in through the driver, and something we don't usually get to see too often. Christoph Peterson trying to get past the likes of Rich Vanieta. Ooh, try for the inside line, and Rich Vanieta going and saying no thank you on that one. Will be able to hold suit. Ernest Umbriggs and Camille Allenson into the pits, and that's going to leave David Young and Lewis Knight to choose whether they're going to keep going. Chris Wall is turned round and unfortunately is out of the race. And yeah, unfortunately, Chris Wall going and retiring out of the race, and we are getting confirmation, unfortunately, and reporting that it was a game crash that happened for it. So it does look like a couple of drivers running into a bit of a problem, and a game crash taking a few people out of the running order. Chris Wall being one of those who is unfortunately out. And let's see if we can quickly see what happened to Chris. This was a bit of a fight out for him, trying to keep it all in check. Late on the anchors, trying to pull it through, and into the wall. Car didn't want to slow down, and that was that. Put to bed his race day, unfortunately. So tough time out there. Jason Farmer keeping on to the back of Stephen Malone and James as they continue on their fight. But it is so wild out there this evening. So many drivers are going to be battling their way through, trying to figure out how they can keep it going. Paul Fenter getting a bit of support as he leads out the Platinum. And Scott Sebastian Lucas in full company. Rich Vanieta has the likes of Christoph Peterson getting past him on the inside. And Christoph now looks to open up the gap. Rich Vanieta in the much more modern Ferrari 296 V6 turbocharged motor up against the brute force V8 naturally aspirated Ferrari 488 that has gone out and really taken a huge run up through the order. But we are getting some serious... I mean, this is absolutely a tough time out there. I just... absolutely heartbroken. Getting some reports, and we see the likes of Chris Wall saying, unfortunately, just not able to get any grips, and that's where the incident happened. Lewis Knight with a drive-through penalty, big one for him. And I mean, this is going to be some serious hard work to try and make up some time. Ernest Lundbriggs out. Oh, Ernest, big one into the wall, and is now trying to get himself turned around the 95. Losing out that little bit of momentum, clipped the curb, clipped the wall, and that's all she wrote. And it falls down. David Schulen will be quite happy with that one. But it is David Young leading out the pack, who continues on the drive. Ben Hicks in second place. David Schulen up into third. And, I mean, this is just turning into it. With the likes of Ernest Umbriggs, Paul Fenton, Sebastian Lucasen right onto his tail. And, yeah, this is going to be a difficult run for many of the drivers, and Chris just echoing, unfortunately not able to get any grip, and that battled him through. Sebastian Luxer around the outside. Paul Fenter trying to battle his way through. Couldn't quite get it under control as he tries to get the position back. He really needs to dig deep here and see if he can keep going. I mean, this is just a tough time as Paul was holding on to that first place. Sebastian having some legs underneath him, looks to try and power away. David Roth leading out, well, is going to be leading out the gold after David Young does his pit stop. But we do see Lewis Knight getting sorted out with his drive-through penalty, unfortunately creeping in and capturing him for track limits exceeded. And that's going to allow Marco Vergove to gain a position as well. So still some tight driving out there. Chris, I understand the frustration of worrying about lack of grip and everything that goes on with it. But I do believe, but just hang in there. This is the one round that has rain. There is opportunity to improve, and there's always a next time to get back in. So I do think you have an opportunity to keep out there, keep going, and score some valuable points. Not only just as you as a driver, but think about the team themselves as well. You have an opportunity to score some points for the team in a Manufacturers Championship and a Team Championship in the Ford Mustang. And yes, the conditions themselves is absolutely brutal here at COTA. But, I mean, this is going to be a proper proper run through. And I don't think throwing in the towel right now will be the best option. So I'm challenging you to get back in that car. If Tomo could have a game crash, disconnect, and throw him out of the race to still carry on, I do think you have an opportunity to also get back in that car, get going, and give it your absolute best shot. You know what? Rather see it through. You saw the green, you get to see the checkered at the end as well. That's going to be my way to you. That's my challenge. And considering you got your teammate Paul Fenter, who's fighting it out there. He's got David Roth trying to close up for company. But Sebastian Luxon, who is now leading out our Platinums. David Young into the pits, getting himself sorted. And the position will be handed back over to David Roth, who will lead out our gold. So Ben Hicks leads out the pack in first of our Diamond Division. Second is David Schutten, along with Ernest Umbriggs running in third place. Going to see our Diamonds really pushing on as hard as they can. Sebastian Luxon running fourth, along with fifth place Paul Fenter. David Roth in sixth, as we have got confirmation Young leaving the pits. So he will be continuing on. Stephen Milana James, Jason Farmer trying to carry on, along with Martin Spritzer, who's third of the Platinums at this current point. A little bit further down is Christoph Peterson, Richard van Heerden, David Borschke, along with Jens Elson, Mahath Musa making a bit of a climb. And we have got the likes of Mr. Young back out on the circuit. He's in 15th position, trying to give it everything he's got. The likes of Ulrich Diaga still hanging in there. Marco Vergo, along with Rob van Heerden, Miles Stone, Lewis Knight, and John Spriggs a little bit further down the order. Aaron Schigel down in 22nd position, but the Canadian driver not giving up just yet. And Talmo, after a full-on disconnect, back up and going. And he is looking to try and keep it all alive at the moment on his way through. And that's where it's going to be a stunning effort. Ernest Lundbriggs, after his little bit of a spin, a little bit of a collected to the wall, now 1.8 seconds onto the back of David Schutten. He has really turned up the wick. And Paul Fenter has gone in for the bite as well, as he is right onto the back of Sebastian Luxon. The ERA Highway Patrol trying to hold on to that top position for the Platinum has got Paul Fenter constantly hounding him at this moment, looking left, looking right, trying to see where he can go at this point and how hard can he really get the car going to ensure he stays in for the fight. And Paul Fenter will be really going and battling his way through, constantly trying to figure out how is he going to carry on this little bit of momentum. Where does he need to make it work for him? Late on the brakes, trying to go around the outside, looks for the cutback. And Sebastian Luxon trying to go and close off that channel as fast as possible. Paul not hanging back. Sebastian gets a little bit of a tank slapper on the way through, just keeping his foot firmly on the power. Does not want to get any bit of lift off at the moment, and will try everything he can as we jump onto the rear wing. That spray getting absolutely torrential out there for the drivers as they try and figure out what is next. Paul Fenter snaking his way through, trying to keep the front tires just alive a little bit more. 12 minutes left in this race, and we still got little fights all over the circuit, and a close one being the Paul Fenter trying to get as much pace as possible to reclaim first of his class. David Roth, though, plenty of space between himself and David Young, as we do see Paul Fenter up on the inside. Can he get the power down early enough? Just couldn't do it. The yellow marks up on the top of the dash, showing that traction control getting pulled in to try and keep the car going. At this point, he is really grueling to fight it all out at this moment. Looks for the inside line, going to go late on the braking. Can he do it? Sebastian Luxon just managing to keep it as a quick through the kink, and Paul Fenter just not able to get that drive as much as he would like. Once again, puts his nose up on the inside of Sebastian Luxon, trying everything, hunting down every opportunity to just see it work out. And Paul Fenter not having an easy time out there. Sebastian constantly fighting, trying to defend the position. Hook, line, and sinker. Ross giving them a bit of room and saying, listen, guys, you go fight it out between one another. I've got plenty of space between myself and the competition. Ben Hicks, Ernest Umbriggs, they are also just running in a bit of formation firing here, as Ernest Umbriggs right onto the back of Schutten will look to try and get past. This is for second and third place overall and in class, and Ernest Umbriggs, after losing control of the car, is now trying to get himself all sorted out. They will be coming up rather quickly to a car just turning around. That's Aaron Shingle, who will be coming back onto circuit. Ben Hicks will see that yellow flag is cleared. He will see a car going slow and will suddenly have it right in front of him. For David Schuten and Ernest Umbriggs, they're able to keep on going and not have that yellow flag interfering too much in the race. 0.8 of a second separating them. Sebastian Luxon dealing with Paul Fenter at the moment as they throwing everything they can at one another. Martin Spritzer and Christoph Peterson a little bit further back, 1.3 seconds onto the back of the Lamborghini. Then we got David Boschke and the likes of Jen Nelson trying to make up that some time after his catastrophic race. He is looking back into the points. Rob van Heerden keep ahead of Milestone, and Lewis Knight, after his drive-through penalty, is now back out and going, pushing as hard as he can. John Spriggs, Aaron Schigel, and Tolmo still out there. 3 laps down after the game crash, but he is still out and pushing. Paul Fenter looking to try and make up some time. Really late on the anchors, trying to get early onto the power, and just can't get enough drive underneath him. He's in the slipstream. He's going to pull himself a little bit closer, eye out the inside line. He's constantly going for it. He's hoping for the guys to back off, and it looks like Sebastian Luxon is going to be committed to the inside line. Paul Fenter is forced to go around the outside. Side by side they go. Will he have enough on the legs? Goes around the outside. Can he get on the power early enough? It is still side by side for the two of them. Sebastian really throwing down the cards here, has sent the gauntlet in, and Paul Fenter tries to make up as much time as possible and has finally got the position back. Sebastian Luxon's not going to be taking a line down, hanging right there, 0.5 of a second. Ernest Umbriggs over the back of David Schuten. He wants to stop this ERA highway patrol from locking out the top order. He wants to be in there with a fight and scoring maximum points, and will be doing everything he can to stay in for the fight. Christoph Peterson gets past Martin Spritzer as well, as there is all these mini fights happening right across the circuit. It's fantastic to see Ernest Umbriggs into the toe, around the going on the outside line. He switches to the inside. Unfortunately, not enough room there. Going to try possibly for a cutback and really feed the power on for the 488, and just not able to get it to work out underneath him. Has to battle his way back into the fray. David Schuten in that BMW, just going and soaking up the pressure at this point from the Ferrari behind. And it is going to be the Rusties really giving the police a tough time out there to see where on earth there is that break in the shield, that break in momentum. Milestone, and it looks like Rob van Heerden losing 2 positions. David Young losing out to Elric de Jager through the final corner. Sebastian Luxon back onto the rear of Paul Fenter, as this is our closest battle out on circuit. We bouncing between multiple little bit of fights from the drivers. Seeing some great action out there. Paul Fenter, Sebastian Luxon constantly trying to figure out where can they get this drive, where can they get the bit of momentum coming in, how hard do they need to fight at the moment. And Sebastian will be really pushing out that little bit further. Paul Fenter saying he's going to keep going and give it everything he's got. Ernest Umbriggs into the slipstream yet again. David Schuten, 7 minutes and 47 seconds to go in this race. And it's still open cards for second and third of our diamond class. First and second of our platinums are fighting it out. And third of our golds is on the cards here. So drivers are in for a huge run. We are about to see a whole change up for the championship, and many drivers are going to be thinking about what do they need to do to stay in for the running order. Ernest Umbriggs getting into the toe. David Schuten just ahead of him, and he does look to try go late on the brakes. Couldn't quite go for the send there, and we'll have to wait it out just a little bit more as they head towards the main straight and see that time is ticking away rather quickly. So it's got to be an all or nothing at this point, as they do see the likes of Aaron Shingle moving out of the way for our leader to give him a bit of room. Oh, Sebastian Luxon all over the show, trying to keep it all together. Late braking Paul Fenter, not able to get the grip. He's going to put the power down a little bit earlier, and David Roth looking to join the party. It is going to be Sebastian deep on the inside. He's committed to hold that inside line all the way through. Paul Fenter going to straight line him, and does do so. So great run there. And now David Roth right into the mix. Oh, Sebastian with a huge send, trying to get it all sorted out, and forces Paul Fenter out wide. Paul is not giving up. He's going to go side by side heading into the S's, something he's rather familiar with at the moment is being right there. He needs to follow the line through, backs off a little bit. He's going to stay in for the mix, sliding around, over the curbs, definitely going and eating a little bit there as Paul Fenter tries everything to keep up with Sebastian Luxon. After that pass into turn 1 going his way, Paul Fenter drops back a little bit further. Lewis Knight and Milestone, same type of thing. Lewis Knight getting the pass on Milestone, who now needs to be a little bit of a patient driver at this point to stay in for the fray. Sebastian Luxon in 4th and Paul Fenter in 5th, going side by side. And Paul, once again, the outside line, breaks a little bit earlier. Jumping over the curbs, just became a kangaroo. And David Roth will have a little bit more drive underneath him. So Roth going and closing up that gap at a rate of knots, staying in for the fight, will be battling his way through. Tomo making his way around the circuit as well, still not giving up on his drive. No hopes being lost here for the likes of Tomo Malami, as we do see Ernest Umbriggs really fighting it out with Schutten. And Schutten, after just carrying so much drive, Ernest Umbriggs has got himself on a dry line, and they are side by side next to no room to go. Clean driving between the two of them. And Lundberg's just going and having the area squeezed off Schutten, giving it no room for rights right there. That is some proper side-by-side action. And Lundberg's having to come off the power, sees that Schutten, got a little bit of a poor drive, dives for the inside line. Has he got enough to get the power on all the way into turn 1? And it's going to be side-by-side. Remember, this is 2nd place overall and 2nd in class. And you can see how Schutten defends that inside line like his life, goes and depends on it. And man, oh man, what a drive from the likes of Schutten. Ernest Lundberg's all over the back of him, constantly fighting it out. I mean, we're watching this battle, and we cannot forget about Sebastian Luxon leading out his class, with Paul Fenter currently 2nd place of the class, trying to chase onto the back of him. They got gold, first of the golds, lying right behind them. David Roth, who's just has the best seat in the house to watch these battles. And we're into the final 3 minutes of the race. David Roth sees Stephen Milano James onto the back of him. Milano James is currently 4th in class. He wants to try and get past the gold driver. They don't have to fight it out, but the 488 is properly hanging its tail out to just go a little bit of defensive runs. It is just wild all the way through. Drivers trying to figure out where they can go. And this is turning into some great racing. This is what we expect from ERA, and what the weather has done to the drivers to really focus on the charge. Ernest Lundberg's trying to get onto the back of David Schutten, who is not backing down. The ERA Highway Patrol leads out this little train. He is in 2nd place, with Ernest Lundberg's getting a tremendous drive out of the corner, trying to figure out how can he get past, looking left, looking right, trying to bait a bit of a move at the moment, trying to force him to look in the mirrors at this point. And it has just gone wild all over. 0.2 of a second. Lundberg goes out a little bit wide. He's going to try and cut back in for the fray. Couldn't quite get it. It was organized, and will continue on his drive just right onto the back of it. David Schutten, though, crossing track limits, is not going to be too happy there. He's going to have to ensure to protect it a little bit more on the way through. Sebastian Luxon finally broke the like of Paul Fenter off the back of him for now, though. And how long will he be able to do it in the running order? I mean, this is just going absolutely wild. Around the final corner they go, and onto the back, onto our main straight. And it is going to be Ernest Umbriggs, who's got a lot more drive underneath him. He's 0.4 of a second, but that BMW just having some tremendous legs here in the wet. Lewis Knight gets past the likes of David Young a little bit further back. Cannot forget, there's all sorts of racing happening out there on the circuit, with so many drivers, 23 drivers out there really pushing as hard as they can. David Young, spin out for David Young. Milestone and Rob van der Heever says thank you very much on that one. And they will continue on their drive. Stephen Milano James, a little bit of late braking on his part to just try and be careful of David Roth on the way through. Paul Fenter, 0.8 of a second. And so is Ernest Umbriggs, 0.8 to 1 second behind. Feeling that wear and tear, the drivers starting to really show what the fatigue comes into play. David Young, mine's out of the way, and John Spriggs says thank you very much. He's going to keep on going, and David Young down into 21st position as they fight on Ernest Umbriggs late on the brakes, trying to throw down the gauntlet at David Schutten at the moment. And they are just going and battling it out. Ernest Umbriggs into the toe. David Schutten wanting to give it everything he's got to finally go and really push himself that little bit more after a really tough race in the endurance. Ernest Umbriggs around the outside, couldn't get it all sorted. They had the enduros around here last night, and Paul Fenter looking to go and fight it out with Sebastian Luxen. Put a lot of pressure to hold him back, holds the apex, and is it going to be enough to get on the power? Sebastian Luxen's got the inside line in the right-hander. Paul Fenter could not hold it back and will have to wait. David Young parked off yet again, losing a bit of time, as we do see Ben Hicks get on by. He's going to really try and concentrate on his drive there. David Young's just waiting for the opportunity to just call it quits at the moment. He is into pit lane, and he will wait to try and get the car sorted out so he can get back out onto the track while the rest of our drivers continue out their bit of pace. But it is going to be likes of David Schutten to come across the line. He will be doing one more lap. Ben Hicks has got one more lap underneath him, and that is not what our drivers wanted to hear. One more lap to defend for Schutten. This is nightmare situation for Sebastian Luxen. This is nightmare situation. But for David Roth, who is leading out the gold with second place, Ulrich de Jager further down. Sebastian moving over to the left-hand side to try and guard the inside line. Paul Fenter around the outside, goes for the send. He's going to go for it. He's going to absolutely send it. Misses the sausage curbs, but Paul tried putting his nose in for that right royal send, and it compromised him. Sebastian Luxen will gain a bit of time. Christoph Peterson putting the pressure on Jason Farmer, and likes of Stephen Milano James has got David Roth on the way through, and Roth is just happy to be here. He's watching the fights ahead of him, and Paul Fenter doing everything he can, representing South Africa, is really having the Swedish going and battling out. I mean, Sebastian's just absolutely nailing it at this point. Nose to tail on the Aston Martins as Paul Fenter, a bit of a bump draft there to try and get the cars going. Ben Hicks, though, looking to ultimately take the win by 12 seconds ahead of the pack. David Schutten in second place has got Ernest Umbriggs, Sebastian Luxen. Paul Fenter gets a poor drive and now has David Roth looking to try and get on by, and it looks like he may have lost a bit of drive coming out of the corner. And David Roth going and saying, listen, I'm not going to interfere with you too much. I'm going to keep on going. Paul Fenter going and looking for the inside. He had to second guess it. He's going to go around the outside, and it is going to be a send for Paul. Sebastian, door to door. Both of them are going. David Roth off the circuit as Stephen Milano James ensures he goes through. I mean, this is just wild down to the line, and it is Ben Hicks who will take the win ultimately here at COTA. The question is, who will be second? Who will be second of the class? As Ernest Umbriggs a little bit of contact with David Schutten, trying to get on by. He's going to go around the outside and get some form of drive. Will he have enough in the tank? He's right up against the back of him. Ernest Umbriggs trying to drag race it, but it's Schutten across the line. Ernest Umbriggs in second place. Paul Fenter, who will get ahead. Sebastian Luxen is down the order. Sebastian is down the order. David Roth going and putting a bit of pressure onto him. And it is Paul Fenter taking the class win, with Stephen Milano James finishing up in fifth. David Roth going and taking the win for the gold. Sebastian Luxen, after a well-hard fight, will take seventh, and second in class. Jason Farmer takes eighth place. Christoph Peterson right behind him in ninth. Martin Spritzer, Richard van Heerden going to be quite happy with that one in 11th place. David Walschke along with Jen Nelson, Mayath Musa, Ulrich de Jager will take 15th. Marco Vergo, Lewis Knight, Miles Stone, John Spriggs right onto the back of him, and Rob van Heerden trying to make a bit of time. Aaron Schigel and David Young trying to finish up, and rounding out our field after having a game crash and really battling his way through. We're going to give him a little bit of limelight here, is the likes of Tomo Malami as he makes his way around the corner, dead focus on the way through. And let's see if we can have a bit of a discussion, have a quick well done. Tomo, we're getting reports from our spectators saying congratulations, well done on finishing the race. Absolutely great stuff. And a good spin out there at the end. Well done, bud. So, Tomo, after a game crash, you could see the frustration a bit and contact as well. But wow, oh wow, what a race was had here in the Circuit of America. And what stunning race of some tough action. And well done to all our drivers on some incredibly hard work. Drivers having to really just battle through all the hardships of the race, but those managing to bring it back nonetheless is going to be quite happy with it. And what a race was had. Man, oh man. Whew, trying to get my breath back after that. That was a bit wild. And we will be starting to bring people up to have a chat to us. And we're going to first kick it off with the first of the golds because, well, I mean, David Roth has really shown in some good amounts of effort during the course of his side of the race and has really shown what he can do. So, to some beautiful highlight shots. And we're going to bring in David Roth, first of the golds, to come and have a chat to us and first into the top 5. So David Roth coming in and joining us. Absolutely well done into the top 5. Gold being on display there. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic. That was a really good race. Very happy with my pace around there.
Well, I mean, COTA has definitely been one to keep an eye out for, and so far you've managed to put a good bit of effort in for the drive. I mean, take us through the track conditions. It looked torrential out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the first 3 laps before a dry line starts to form, there's just absolutely no grip. The 488, it's supposed to be a good car in the wet, but I had no turn-in at all. After about 3 laps, when the dry line starts forming, it gets a little more tolerable. But it was very, very wet. Probably one of the wettest wet races that we've done this early in the season.
And we got to talk about the end, where it just looked scrappy between yourself, Stephen Milano James, Sebastian Luxon, Paul Fenter. It just looked like wherever you could go, you had cars around you, knowing that you're leading your class. Was there a thought of, let me move out of the way, or was it just trying to survive at this point?
It was kind of just survival. I wasn't fighting for any positions. During the race, I let a few people go that were more consistent than I was. But at the end, Lucas and Venter fighting so hard, I ended up just catching up by default. And I didn't want to get involved, but there's a couple times, I'm sure you saw, where I just ended up taking like an inside line trying to get around. And at the end there with me and Lucasen, I guess he ran out of fuel right at the final straight, so I just barely got by him. That was intense.
Well, absolutely great stuff. And honestly, some stunning work from your part. Before I let you go and enjoy the celebrations, anything you would like to say to all the petrol heads out there in the virtual grandstands, to all our partners out here at ERA for just some amazing efforts?
Oh, I mean, as always, thank you for everybody that donates and supports what we do here. This academy has taught me so much, starting in bronze, what would have been iron, last year, up into fighting, platinums and diamonds in Silver 1. This academy has shown me so much. I've met so many good people. I love it here. So if you're thinking about joining, the best time to start is now.
Yeah, considering we haven't got any rain planned after this, that is for certain. Well, David, absolutely well done on your part. And man, oh man, what a drive in that 488.
Thank you so much, Stephen.
Well, David Roth going and putting on a great performance, winning the gold division and going and absolutely putting in a stellar effort. Let's bring in our first place for our platinum division. And as a driver that going into this, he said, I felt good. Well, I'm sure he feels far better now after eating lots and lots of chocolates. Let's bring in Paul Fenter. Paul, welcome to the commentary box. Absolutely fantastic to have you here. You are muted, by the way. Man, this is just a wild one. You were fighting tooth and nail towards the end there. How finished are you?
I need to go take a shower again. That was absolutely fantastic. My word. My brain hurts, my feet hurt, and my heart is racing at 6,000 beats per minute.
Well, take us through, because it looked like a roller coaster of emotions where you lost out that first place, you started losing a bit of ground, you had Roth catching up to the back of you. It just looked like at one point you were losing it all. Did you feel that, no, I'm not going to give up, or was there a sense of, I'm comfortable where I am, I've got a little bit in the tires to battle it out? Take us through that part.
Yeah, no, I think it was just silly mistakes. I think I got past Lucassen because he made a few mistakes. Then I did exactly the same thing, just watching him in the mirror and made a few mistakes. And then it's as if the grip went away. And then at some point, I think on stream, I gave myself one of those Homer Simpson whacks against the forehead and went like, duh, idiot, get going. And yeah, at that point seems to have knocked some bolts around and found some grip again. So yeah, I was able to battle. Yeah, it was good those last two laps. I was kind of just waiting to see where would we be able to do this, also to try and do it as safe as possible and, not murder each other. And it is wet, so it was quite slippery. So, but yeah, that was just absolutely fantastic. I don't know what happened. Well, he says at the end of it he ran out of fuel, but it looked like he outbraked himself going into the right-hander as we were probably lining up to go side by side. And yeah, that was all she wrote. And I think I gave a bit of a squeal out on my own stream, and that was about it. Happy days, man.
Well, first time for getting the win here at ERA for 2025. And throughout 2024, you had a nightmare effort. But that last two corners of Wright and Royal Sen, was there silence or was there just this, come on, get going?
Yeah, no, at that point it was just like, we got to somehow just bring this home without killing yourself, because we all know I have that tendency of just chucking it in the wall, costing myself some great positions. So yeah, that was just, Christoph was just like, don't die, be safe. And we all know I don't live by those words. I die and I never drive safe. So yeah, there was there was one to bring that home. I'm quite happy, quite surprised by that. I wasn't really sure I had the pace to run up front with the front boys. So yeah, I'm just super stoked. First win, and geez, I actually cannot remember how many months. So yeah, we'll chuck that up to probably the first win in probably about 8-9 months. So yeah, time to have some tequila.
Well, there we go. Well, before I let you go and enjoy the celebrations with the Platinum drivers, anything you'd like to say to the drivers out there on the grid, to all the teams, the crew in the background here at ERA, putting everything together, the admins and stewards, and most importantly to the petrol heads out there. And let's be honest, your fan base that's been cheering you on as well, all the way out from South Africa and around the world. Anything you'd like to say to them?
Yeah, man. As always, just thanks to ERA, admins, and everyone for putting up some great racing. We all know how intense it is to do these things, and you guys as the commentators and broadcasters, thanks to you, Oaks, for giving up your time, and then to each and every driver and team that comes out on a Sunday night to race. Thanks to all of you. Without any one of everyone, we wouldn't be racing. And to all the boys out in the stands, happy days. Now we can all get drunk together. Woohoo!
There we go. Paul Fenter of Logistical Nightmare Racing taking the win in the Platinum Division. Well done, Paul. Absolutely great to see it. Now, let's bring in third place by 0.2 of a second behind David Shooten, Ernest Lumbriggs, after an incredible fight to come and have a chat to us. Ernest, welcome to the commentary box. Man, your nerves must be shot. The drag race to the end, everything just seemed like you had a race from start to finish of not being able to breathe.
Yeah, I was. It was a tough race. The spin aside, it was still a really fun race, and I'm glad I got to have the fight with Shooten because that was absolutely amazing. And that's why I'm here, to have some really good fights, no matter the position.
Well, we got to see you two going absolutely to war to one another. I mean, give us a bit of an idea of what was happening behind the wheel there, your thoughts of just everything going on. I mean, it just looked like it was, if he threw a left, you threw a left. If he threw a right, you threw a right. It was just impact for impact.
Well, I was thinking that it would have been great if I had the Nissan right there, but the 488 did not have any straight line speed. That BMW was walking away from me. Yeah, I had to. If an overtake was to be done, it was in the corners, in the braking zones, and I could see that the Shooten was struggling with his tires. I did make the choice to pick up new tires, and at the moment I thought it was gonna be the correct choice because, you know, better tires, more grip. Maybe I could make a move, but Shooten defended really well, and I just couldn't manage to get it.
Well, it was still an absolutely mental race, and it had all of us out there in the grandstands standing on the feet. I'm sure you got to see many of the guys just cheering on and just going absolutely wild. But anything you would like to say to everyone out in the ERA, from our partners to the admins, the stewards, but most importantly to the drivers, the teams out there, your competitors, your fellow competitors that gave you an absolute hill to climb on the way through. I mean, anything from that you would like to say?
I think it's always important to remember that we are all here to make friends, not enemies. So even if you are fighting really hard for a position, don't go punting the other guy off, and always keep it clean so you can have more fun fights in the future.
Absolutely wonderful stuff. Ernest Sumrick's finishing up in third place in that 95 Kachow Colors. Lightning McQueen, well done for the 488. 0.2 of a second before the line. Well, Ernest are going to be getting a breather sigh of relief there. Let's bring in a person that is currently trying to get his eyes off the rearview mirror, and that is going to be David Schutzen to come and have a chat to us. David, welcome to the commentary box. Man, oh man, did life get interesting for you? Not only with the team having having to deal with the endurance yesterday, but you getting a 488 filling up your mirrors.
Yeah, that was incredibly tough, to be honest. I think probably the toughest race that I ever did, and honestly, that last 15 minutes were so much fun, but I'm sweating like crazy. So yeah, but yeah, props to Ernest, because that was just an incredible fight.
It was brutal. That's all I could say. Watching you two go and fight it out. We saw in the early stages of the race, you working with your teammate Ben Hicks, just working with each other, trying to keep pace. Was there a bit of a concern that Ernest was constantly sitting in your mirrors there, just a bit within arm's reach, or was there, okay, we're playing it fine here, not too much to worry about?
Well, in the first stint, I hoped we could pull away a bit from Ernest Lumbergs, but it didn't seem to happen. He stayed, I think, all the time within basically 3 seconds. So then I knew, okay, I get the 10-second penalty and he gets in front of me. But yeah, I don't know. As soon as I saw Hicks going into the pits, I thought, okay, I'm just gonna go as well. And luckily I got some clean air. I think Hicks got out behind someone. But yeah, for me it worked out really well, and I didn't take any tires to make sure I offset a little bit with my penalty, and yeah, it worked out in the end, luckily.
Well, definitely a huge amount of celebrations happening in the precinct tonight. Anything you would like to say to everyone here at ERA, all our partners, and most importantly, all the race fans that got to live that roller coaster ride towards the end of your epic battle?
Yeah, thanks to everyone watching, and thanks to you again, and thanks to all of the stewards. So yeah, happy with everyone behind the scenes. Thanks to everyone.
Absolutely great stuff. Well, David Schutzen taking second place of our Diamond Division, and has really gone and had to earn it on that one. You talk about earning your stripes and really fighting out. Let's talk about a driver that had plenty of racing at the start of the race. The second half, though, was a bit easier. Ben Hicks to come up and have a chat to us. Ben, welcome to the commentary box. What a run for you. 13 and a half seconds clear of second place. But the start looked a little bit more hair-raising to try and fight your way back.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. I was definitely worn out after that one. Yeah, at the start, I just couldn't find my braking spots at all. I could see David was faster. I even considered letting him by because he had an extra 5-second penalty than me. But I had the pace, and I showed it at the end of that stint. I was in the mid-14s, so yeah. It's unfortunate I couldn't show it at the start, so we could run away a bit. But yeah, it was good until the stop. And then I came out behind Lundberg's, but fortunately for me, he spun on the last corner.
Well, it kept you going all the way through. I mean, take us through the race and see how did it all go? What was the main feel for you?
Yeah, I mean, I drove this track in the wet for the first time this morning. And I've been practicing all week for the endurance in the dry. And then suddenly in the wet, I had no idea what I was doing. And I was about 4 seconds off the pace. And David sent me a setup. And then I was suddenly right at the top of the timesheet. So I think that definitely helped. And then, yeah, the start of the race was just don't get warnings. Don't make any mistakes where I can get past. Just bring it to the pit stop and then see where we come out. I didn't change tyres to gain the extra 5 seconds to offset against my 5-second penalty. I'm not sure what everyone else did in the end, but I think that helped. But yeah, the pace was still good at the end, so I don't think we needed new tyres at all.
Well, it was an absolutely mental drive to survive in this torrential downpour here in Texas for the Circuit of America. Anything you'd like to say to all the drivers, to the teams out there, to all the incredible people working in the back, frantically trying to get themselves dry after it, but most importantly, all the racing fans out there going and cheering on the whole ERA Highway Patrol?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thank you to ERA, thank you to everyone running it, thank you to all the stewards, thank you to you. You do a fantastic job on the cast. I always watch it back. And yeah, thank you to my team. We had a great result. I'm not exactly sure where everyone in the other classes came, but I saw Lukeson was pretty high up, so I'm not sure what happened in the end. But yeah, cool. Thank you for everyone for racing.
Well, the rumor mill says Sebastian Lukeson needed a little bit more 93 in that tank. So
right.
Maybe the fuel,
Okay, unlucky.
Maybe the fuel budget needs to be increased there in the ERA Highway Patrol. But
yeah.
Ben, well done once again. A good result and a great weekend for the ERA Highway Patrol. You guys did a stellar job, and you taking the win here tonight overall and for your class out in the Diamonds in torrential downpour for round 2 of the ERA Sunday Championship.
Thank you.
Oh, it's absolutely great to have it. And wow, what a show. What excitement. And man, oh man, if that hasn't got you standing on your feet with some incredible racing that came down to the last 2 corners to go and dictate who finishes where. I mean, this has been an absolutely mental one to look back, smile, and say, man, we were there. It was just on the next level. Next up, though, on the 27th of April, we're going to be having a season break, but we will be having some DTM racing. That's a IRL event that a lot of our team is going to be going and watching. So if you feel free to get in touch with us here at beautiful Discord of Evolution Racing Academy and get in touch with our team, you can go and join them at a bit of a DTM time and get to meet some of the faces and names you go and see on the broadcast and getting to work with. But we will be returning to racing action on the 4th of May at Donington for some incredible action. And it is proving to be a little bit hot out there. So please make sure to use the link down below. Come and sign up. Come be part of the incredible action here at Evolution Racing Academy. And after we just had our stunning run of the endurance, round 1 it was done and dusted. Round 2 proved to really show off some great racing, and definitely ones that we got to keep an eye out for. We have to also consider the factors heading into round 3. 6 hours of Silverstone will be the next one for many of our drivers to try and contend with and see where on earth they can pick up the pace in a 4-round championship. And that will be running on... To pull it up, I just need to get my calendar in front of me. That will be happening on the 17th of May. So make sure, 17th of May, tune in to the absolute action, 6 hours of Silverstone, but also to join in. Bring your buddies, bring your teams, see if you can take it on solo. You can sign up on SimGrid under ERA Endurance Season 1 or Evolution Racing Academy to find it out on SimGrid. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. It's been an absolute honor. It's been an absolute pleasure. And it has been a wild one. Let us know what your favorite part of tonight's action was, with some incredible racing. And we are looking forward to seeing some more. We have got a weekend break before we come back. And we are going to be rocking and rolling here at ERA. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, like always, my name is Stephen Koenig, and from the entire ERA team, from THT Productions, from Server 2 to Server 1, we say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.